So tell me if this has ever happened to you. You meet this person and you connect instantly. You guys are going on the dates. You could talk on the phone for hours. They're such a good kisser. You guys are hanging out all the time. And then one day, you're cuddled up on the couch together, and they look into your eyes and they go deadpan and they say those dreaded three words: "What are we?" And then you immediately get the ick. In fact, by the end of the night, they're blocked on Instagram, Snapchat, even TikTok. And then when your friends ask you, "Oh, what happened to so and so?" Your response is, "Oh my God, they were just so clingy." And then you end up texting that one frat boy that never texts you back. So, why do you do this? Well, according to psychologists John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth, this can be explained by attachment theory. Welcome to the podcast that breaks down psychological concepts in order to understand how we operate in our college relationships. So, what is attachment theory? You may or may not have heard about this theory in Psych 101, but the premise of this theory is that we as humans have this innate need to connect with others. And when we're babies, our first connections are with our caregivers. So, how we connect with these caregivers and the quality of these relationships, it translates into how we connect with others in the future. And this involves friends and family and, of course, romantic relationships. And according to attachment theory, we often gravitate toward people that mimic the feeling that we had with our caregiver. And as we all know, there's only one letter difference between parent and partner. Psychologists identify 4 different attachment styles: secure, anxious, avoidant, and anxious avoidant. And in this episode, we're going to break these down. And if you're wondering what your unique attachment style is, I linked a quiz down below. It takes about 5 minutes and you'll learn your attachment style. So without further ado, let's talk about attachment styles. So let's start off easy with the secure attachment style. So people with a secure attachment style felt very supported by their caregivers when they were children. Their parents made them feel safe and comforted. They made an effort to understand their emotions, and they comforted them when they were sad and celebrated them when they succeeded. So with this support, they felt that they were able to explore the world freely and come home to a secure environment. In their adult relationships, they feel confident in depending on their partner for their emotional needs and also having their partner depend on them. And if they ever have a conflict with their partner, they feel comfortable expressing their emotions openly and listening to their partner and trying to come up with solutions that benefit the both of them. So, this is pretty much the ideal attachment style. But according to Psychology Today, only about 51% of individuals actually fall into the secure attachment style. So, let's talk about the other ones. So, the first insecure attachment style we're going to talk about is the anxious or preoccupied attachment style. So, this attachment style usually develops if the caregiver was inconsistent with the child. So, the child doesn't really have the capacity to understand why the caregiver is being inconsistent and often blames themselves instead. So, as a result, the child ends up developing a fear of abandonment, and this translates into their adult relationships. So, anxious individuals end up worrying that their partner is going to abandon them, and they often worry that their partner doesn't love them as much as they love them, or they think that their partner is going to lose interest in them. Anxiously attached individuals need that constant reassurance from their partner, and they always kind of assume the worst of their partner's behavior. And they're also super sensitive to any slight changes in the relationship or in the partner's behavior. For example, if your partner usually texts you back immediately and all of a sudden they take like 5 or 10 minutes to respond back, you might think, "Oh my gosh, they don't love me anymore," or something crazy like that. So, in a conflict, anxiously attached individuals usually express their emotions in a very negative way, either through anger or through jealousy toward their partner. But at the same time, they have the need to establish that closeness again with their partner, so they'll cling on to them and almost suffocate them. So oftentimes anxiously attached individuals end up feeling like they're too much in a relationship, and unfortunately we seek out partners that confirm our self-doubts. So if an anxiously attached individual believes that they're too much in a relationship, they'll seek out partners that make them feel that way. And oftentimes for an anxiously attached individual, that's an avoidant. So, the avoidant attachment style, also known as the dismissive attachment style, usually develops if their caregivers failed to acknowledge their emotions as a child, or taught them that expressing their emotions was something that needed to be punished. So as a result, the child learns to shut off their emotions to survive. Avoidantly attached individuals, when they grow up and they get into an adult relationship, they end up being hyper independent. So any closeness is a threat to their independence, and they end up pushing their partner away. They feel highly uncomfortable with any emotional vulnerability. So they can't open up to their partner, and they get really uncomfortable when their partner opens up to them. And like we talked about before, humans have this innate sense of wanting to bond with other humans. So these individuals actually override that innate sense and convince themselves that they don't need close relationships. And if they feel like their partner's getting too close, they have these built-in defense mechanisms. So they'll either shut down, or they'll push their partner away physically, or they'll leave, or they'll stop responding to their texts, anything that creates distance between themselves and their partner. In a conflict, they end up doing the same kinds of things. They end up shutting down or running away from the situation, and they suppress their emotions. Oftentimes, this attachment style is really demonized because they're seen as being cold and uncaring and heartless, but deep down, they have a true desire to connect with others, but they can't handle it, and they end up suppressing that need. So the last of the attachment styles is the anxious avoidant attachment style, or the disorganized attachment style. So this is kind of the messiest of the attachment styles. It also happens to be my attachment style. People with a disorganized attachment style usually had a caregiver that instilled a sense of fear in them as a kid. Either it was because they were emotionally distant or physically distant. Maybe they were at work most of the time. Maybe they were abusive toward them in maybe like a physical or emotional way. And this is really confusing for a kid, because a parent is supposed to be someone who is a source of support and care, and they're getting fear back. So this inner conflict that the child has between wanting to connect with their parent and being scared of them translates into their adult relationships. So as an adult, they have this really strong desire to be in a relationship and be close to someone, but as soon as they get emotionally vulnerable with a partner, they get distant again. So this is very similar to the dismissive avoidant, but the difference is the dismissive avoidant pushes people away because they feel like their sense of independence is being threatened, and the fearful avoidant, they push away their partner because they feel like they're about to get abandoned or rejected if they get too close. So this causes a lot of push and pull. They get really close to their partner and want to be clingy and draw them in, but then they also push away their partner as soon as they get too emotionally involved. So they kind of have the worst of both of the insecure attachment styles. And these individuals find it really hard to believe that their partner actually loves them, and in fact, they are constantly looking for signs of rejection or betrayal from their partner. And in a conflict, they do anything that an anxious or avoidant person would do. So either they cling onto their partner, or they attack them, or they flee, or they shut down. So if you aren't lucky enough to fall into the secure attachment style, you may be thinking, okay, so am I doomed? Is this how I'm going to be the rest of my life? And the answer is no, you're not stuck like this. It's entirely possible to move from an insecure attachment style to a secure attachment style, or at least manage and rise above your insecure attachment style. So obviously, therapy helps. You can either go to couples therapy or individual therapy. So with couples therapy, you can work with your counselor to understand your own attachment style and your partner's attachment style, and learn what each of your needs are, and know how to communicate in a healthy manner to fulfill both of your guys' needs. In individual therapy, you can learn more about your own attachment style and what triggers your attachment. So you can learn what makes you more anxious or makes you more avoidant, or the both. And you can learn how to self-regulate and manage your emotions through those hard times. So in learning about your triggers in your own time, you can start reframing your thoughts into positive thoughts. This is known as cognitive reframing, and it's a cognitive behavioral therapy technique that's really helpful to manage your anxiety. So if you're ever feeling triggered or feeling the need to run away or attack your partner or shut down, take a minute and step back, write down the thoughts that you're having and beliefs that you're having about the situation, and gather evidence that you have to support that belief and evidence against that belief. And focus on the evidence against, because oftentimes the evidence for the belief isn't actually holding any merit. Lastly, it can help if you can find a partner that has a secure attachment style. We learn through example. So if we have a secure partner and we ourselves are insecure, we can learn from their natural tendencies of being nurturing and supportive to learn how to transition from our insecure attachment style into a secure one. It also helps that if you're ever triggered, that your partner isn't attacking you or shutting down. So that's also a plus. So you might be thinking, how do I know if someone's securely attached? And there's a few different ways you can. So if they communicate with you honestly and openly, if they listen to what you have to say, if they trust you, if they're emotionally vulnerable with you, if they consistently provide you with warmth and support, and if they respect your boundaries. And most importantly, I just want to remind you guys to show yourselves compassion as you go through this journey of discovering your attachment style and working through it. And I also want to remind you guys that you are worthy of love always, and you are deserving of a healthy, happy relationship. And if you want to learn more about your attachment style, I highly recommend the book Attached, The New Science of Adult Attachment and How it can help you find and keep love. I think it's a good representation of the different attachment styles. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode and stay tuned for more. Bye.